Hey, what's good, guys? Emo Cat Dad here, hanging out with you, bringing you yet another edition of Emo Cat Dad Listens. If you're new here, then welcome. What it is I do is every day of 2024, I check out a new band or artist. This video is a big one too. It's the official 1/3 of the way through the year mark, so claps. I haven't missed a day yet, and I don't plan on it. So today's artist is Koyo, as you can see right there. I'm going to dive into them, check out 4 songs from across their discography, give you my initial thoughts on the songs, give you my ranking of the songs, and then of course my overall thoughts on the artist. Please, please, please keep giving me suggestions of bands or artists I absolutely need to check out. I appreciate it. Like I said, still 2 more thirds of the year to go through, so I'm gonna need the help. So what do I know about Koyo going into this? I'm told they're like a heavier pop punk band in the vein of maybe like the story so far, kind of that classic pop punk style where it's a bunch of hardcore kids that just decide to play something a little more upbeat, and it comes off sounding great, or at least that's what I'm hoping based on my history with bands in the genre. Although I am the Emo Cat Dad, I grew up on pop punk. New Found Glory, who is course, the godfathers of pop punks, were one of the first ones to do that hardcore sound with pop hooks. So I'm hoping Koyo follows in their footsteps, and I have a great time with this band because next month I'm going to 4 Chord Fest in Pittsburgh. If you see me there, say what's up. And Koyo's on the bill, so I was like, I should probably check them out ahead of time and see if I dig them. So without any further ado, let's just dive in and see if that's in fact the case. Alright, so Koyo's released a handful of EPs and a full length last year, so let's start with one of their earlier EPs called Short Beach Sessions, and I checked out the track Hanging from Grace. That I can't seem to collect, okay, so this is like an acoustic pop punk song. The production on this does not sound good at all. It's especially noticeable with the secondary vocals or the background vocals, whatever you want to call them. They sound very far away. It's as if this was recorded at a beach house where the band just kind of stood around playing guitars and singing, and someone had a mic set up and recorded everything and released it on an EP. I know a lot of people dig like that rawness, but I'm not one of them. But I can see some of the appeal for the band here. Their lyrics are pretty good. The instrumentation, you could tell this was like a heavier song that they slowed down for acoustic purposes. So the elements are there for me to dig this, but they just didn't add up in this track because of the situation, I'm assuming, given the song's called Short Beach Sessions. It looks like their first EP to really get some traction came out in 2021 called Drives Out East, and I checked out the track More Riches. Okay, so this is what I expected. This is angry pop punk. And overall, I'd say I dig this track. The production is better, there's no doubting that, but it's still not perfect. I wouldn't say it sounds bad anymore, it just kind of sounds more raw than is my personal preference. But I know a lot of people like to hear the rawness in it, so I get why they did it. And the vocals on this track honestly suit this genre perfectly, so the lead singer definitely knew what he was getting into when he joined this band. Next up, in 2022, they decided to release some standalone singles, the first of which was 10 Digits Away. Okay, so the production is great here. I also noticed on the single artwork that there's a little Pure Noise Records logo, so I'm guessing that explains why the production sounds so good. Maybe it wasn't a choice on the other records, it was just what they had available to them. The melody in this chorus is so freaking catchy. Oh my god, words cannot describe how catchy that is. And surprisingly for a pop punk song, the drums is the musical instrument that shines here. There's a lot of good pop punk drummers, no shade there, but it's historically been a guitar-driven genre, hence the 4 Chord Fest that I'm going to. But the drums, especially in the verses, sound amazing, and honestly, they don't stop throughout the entire song, but especially in the verses is where they shine through the most. Alright, and finally, the band released their debut album last year called Would You Miss It? And I checked out the track Anthem, which is their #1 song on Spotify. Okay, so this is a short and sweet, happy hardcore track. I wouldn't call it angry pop punk, it's a little heavier than that, but you can certainly understand that this is a pop punk band doing kind of a hardcore style track. Not much to say given the short runtime, but I will say the bass work on this track is exquisite. Koyo seems to want to spotlight every other instrument but the guitar. But the guitar's still there, and they still sound good, don't get me wrong. They're just not the focal point. Alright, so those were the tracks I checked out. Let's go ahead and rank them. At #1, we're going 10 digits away. This should not come as a shock. I basically praised everything about this track. I had no issues with it whatsoever. It's a great pop punk track, no notes. At 2, I'll go More Riches. I did have a small gripe that the production isn't as good here, but I listened to some early 2000s pop punk that isn't the greatest either, so this goes in line with that. And in fact, this is probably cleaner than a lot of that is. The vocals are pitch perfect for this style of music, the angry pop punk, and I can honestly listen to this on a regular basis, no problem. At 3, we'll go Anthem. Again, no real problems with this track, other than the runtime being short. But because that runtime is short, it does, I guess, negatively affect it, because 10 Digits Away gave us like a 3-minute plus banger, and even More Riches was over 2 minutes. So a minute and a half, even if it was good like this track was, still gonna end up further back. And 4, of course, Hanging from Grace. We started off on a bit of uneven footing, but I recognize that that was likely the style of music they were going for. I probably could skip this EP and have checked out a different track and enjoyed it, so no shade to Koyo whatsoever. Alright, so let's talk about my overall thoughts on Koyo after hearing these 4 tracks. Obviously, like I said, didn't dig the first track, but they more than made up for it with the next 3. Koyo seems like a super fun band, and I'm definitely going to be following them from this point forward so I can check out all their new stuff. I'm stoked to see them now at 4 Chord next month. I'm going to have a blast. I'm definitely going to listen to some more tracks so I can hopefully learn a couple songs from their set list, but I won't be angry if they play all 4 of these. Even the track I didn't like, all of my issues with it were production-wise, so translating live, I'm sure it will sound great. Alright guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I am your friendly neighborhood Emo Cat Dad. I appreciate you making it to the very end of this video. Like I said at the beginning, please leave me some suggestions in the comments below. Let me know what other bands or artists I absolutely need to check out. I'd appreciate it oh so very much. And while you're down there, give me your thoughts on Koyo. Have you checked them out? Are you going to? If you haven't checked them out, is it because you're not a fan of that sound of pop punk? Or if you are a fan of that sound of pop punk, give me your favorite bands. Is it the story so far? Is it 4 years strong? Let me know. Also, if you just stumbled upon this video, make sure you go back and check out the back 120 plus episodes. Lots of pop punk on there. Did one on the Home Team. Did one on Action Adventure. And tons others. So go back to that back catalog. Hopefully you find something you like. And if you don't want to go through the back catalog, that's fine. Just leave me your suggestions below and then come on back when I do it. And the best way to know if I did your suggestion or not is if you simply cut my wrist and hit subscribe. Emo Cat Dad signing off for now, but until tomorrow, I want to hear you sad.